Well, hey, everybody, that was an interesting press conference. It wasn't a press conference at all. It was kind of a couple of statements. I just am getting ready to do CNN, but I wanted to kind of give you my thoughts on that a little bit and kind of see where we go from here. Look, I will say this: the worst case scenario was certainly averted. Donald Trump, apparently, I mean, it appears there's no deal. Now, Vladimir Putin said that there was a deal and there were a couple spots on it they haven't agreed. Donald Trump said basically they've got to keep going. They're almost there. But the fact that they didn't take questions, the fact that it looks like both Putin and Trump and their delegations are in a hurry to leave Alaska, what that shows me is that Vladimir Putin went to Alaska with no intention of offering anything to end this war. So what came out of this? And this is a very important point. So we're basically where we were now, in essence, although again, we weren't given much information. We're basically where we were now, with the exception of now back in Russia, Vladimir Putin has been seen as a bit of a hero. Look, Russia has been isolated. Vladimir Putin is a war criminal. He's been called a war criminal. He's been indicted as a war criminal. For him to come to Alaska, meet with the president of the United States, as the president applauded him when he got off his jet, for him to then meet for 3 hours and then to stand up and talk about, kind of throwing love on Donald Trump, basically legitimizes him in the eyes of his people. Now, the Russian economy is barely hanging on. I mean, they have a lot of inflation. They're running out of money. There have been indications that the signing bonuses or the recruiting bonuses for soldiers have been reduced because Russia can't afford it, particularly with these sanctions. And all they need is this, continue to have pressure. And I think you're going to see Russia, like you did in 1991, an economic collapse, or at least they will have to quit fighting in Ukraine. Just a week ago was the deadline, by the way, for secondary sanctions on people and on countries that were purchasing Russian oil. Remember, Donald Trump made this big deal about, people that buy Russian oil against the sanctions will be themselves sanctioned with massive tariffs or whatever. Well, a 25% tariff was placed on India, which really didn't do much. And then Donald Trump sent Steve Witkoff, who's one of the dumbest men possible, to go meet with Vladimir Putin, basically right when that deadline came. Putin wanted to meet. The deadline, we got rid of it. And now there was no deal, evidently, no progress really made in Alaska, but there is no discussion of those sanctions coming. So Trump tacos again, always backing out, always chickening out. Vladimir Putin can play him like a fiddle. It is so unbecoming of a U.S. president. So the bottom line, again, anything can change here, but it appears that not much real progress was made in terms of a ceasefire. But on net, it was a massive benefit for Vladimir Putin. So it's important for the United States and Ukraine's allies to continue to support Ukraine in this war. Look, here's the bottom line. Ukraine will stop fighting when Ukraine believes it's time. They get to determine their future. If Ukraine quit fighting today, they would lose their country. If Russia quit fighting today, there would actually be peace. Russia, if they ceased firing, there would be a ceasefire because they're the ones that attacked Ukraine. They're the ones that every day are continuing with this war on Ukraine. When Russia invaded Ukraine, the full-scale invasion, at one point they occupied close to 35% of Ukraine. Today, that number is around 20% because of the counteroffensives. And then they've spent the lives of 1 million men to gain a few more percent of Ukraine. The idea that Russia's winning is insane. Now, both sides are beat up. Look, Ukraine wants this war over. Ukraine is paying a dear and heavy price, but they're not losing. And for a defending country to win, all a defending country has to do is keep defending itself. It's up to the aggressor how long that war lasts. Either they make a decision to stop attacking or they lose the capability to attack. So the bottom line, we don't know what happened here. Donald Trump certainly shows that he's not good at this stuff. But secondarily, this war is going to drag on. And as of now, the United States is not doing what is necessary to end this war, which is to ensure that Russia loses. And we could do that today. So thanks for paying attention. I'll be out with some more weekend stuff and keep following. Thank you.